I just want to make a comment. They were saying that there shouldn't be any blame on Edinburgh Council. I mean, as soon as I became aware of the problems that were going to come about with the bedroom tax, I contacted them probably about 2 months ago. And they'd already been briefed on notifying people of their rights and how they could go about dealing with this. And there was two responses I got. One was move, and the other one was taking a lodger. I actually had to find information out. I've applied for the discretionary fund myself. I did that off my own back. Now, I feel that, you know, it's easy to say, oh, yeah, Edinburgh Council, are not to blame in what's going to happen, but I don't believe that at all. They're not giving out proper information. They're not responding to the questions and answers that people, a lot of the time because they're saying they're being overpowered and overflooded by the situation. I ended up in my accommodation already by being homeless through a head injury. I've been at university, I've graduated university and been at college, and I think it'd be so unfair if I was to end up in a situation again whereby I was homeless because of this unfair policy. You know, and my heart goes out to a lot of people who, there will be evictions. This is the part that people are not understanding. They're saying there is not going to be evictions. There will be evictions. And we need people to stand at these evictions and support people while they're going on in order for, you know, them to stop.
What I was getting at was I was trying to reiterate what Gary was saying earlier on, in that this is foisted upon us by central government. The battle, you know, it may be the local authority who are having to carry out these things, but the battle is with the local authority. If the policy is not with the local authority, with the central government, if the policy is going to be changed, it has to be with central government, yeah?
I noticed our local SP's here and our local councillor, and I'm sorry, but I didn't feel sorry for Edinburgh City Council. Yes. We voted them in there to represent us. Exactly. And I would maybe like to ask what their plans are, because nobody seems to ken if there is going to be evictions. Like I say, I think Mike said Dundee's saying there's not going to be evictions for a year. Can we get that promise for Edinburgh City Council?
Could just briefly to pick up on what Anna was saying there are councils out there that have already said that they won't evict their tenants through arrears accrued by the bedroom tax. So thank you for that point, Anna.
Not all social tenants stay in a council flat in Glasgow. The City Council has no social housing. Well, I'm not actually from Glasgow, so you can't put that down on me. But even in Edinburgh, there isn't. Not everybody stays in a council flat. So if the council decides it, it doesn't mean the housing associations are going to decide the same.
And Anna's just made the point. We beat the stock transfer. Glasgow accepted it, unfortunately, and that's one of the consequences of winning and losing. So, Anne, you wanted to say?
Well, that was one of the things I was going to talk about, actually, that it's not so very long ago that we did win that by fighting back. And that was quite a huge thing, really, to have that victory against the council with all their glossy brochures and their videos and their whatevers. And we just had leafleting and people who said, no, you're not selling off our... Now, the lady down there talked about our new kitchens and bathrooms. That's what they tried to bribe people with, that they would get new kitchens and bathrooms, etc., if they voted to sell off. Now, people fortunately realised that that was just a bribe, and actually it's their responsibility to provide decent standard of housing, first and foremost. So at least we still have a council to challenge. Now, Andrew Byrne's the leader of Edinburgh Council at the moment. I think they were elected in 2 years ago, whenever it was. And they promised that they were going to eradicate injustice, inequality and poverty in Edinburgh Council. We should hold them to that. Yes. There is the petition that was mentioned going around. People have talked about how to fight back. Matt was saying, what action are we going to take? Pete mentioned the idea of building this campaign city-wide. I think ultimately other speakers have spoken about building it nationwide. But in the meantime, that petition, which is I think it could have gone a step further, but it's asking for no evictions. But the demonstration on the 30th is really the thing that will kick this all off.
Yes.
And it's a starting point for people to then call for more meetings and get together and decide, you know, how we're going to take this forward. Because there is a fight back to be had, and it can be had, and we can win.
Yourself?
I've been a carer for 12 years, cared for my mother with dementia. She died in December, and a week later, my housing association sent me a letter saying I had a spare room. Now, I've been ill the last couple of months. I got carer's allowance up until the 12th of February. I got an interview for a job on the 21st. I was offered a job, unconditional, through police checks and all that. And I've been offered a job I got offered the job last week. I started yesterday. I will have to pay full council, full rent now, but now I'm exempt from the bedroom tax. Is that fair? No. I think it's disgusting. And see, going to sign on, that the place in Leaf, it's disgusting how they make you feel. They make you feel that size. And it's disgusting.
Barbara?
Anna mentioned me, Malcolm Chisholm. I'm MSP for some of this area, not Muirhouse, but I am for Pilton, Granton and Leith. Obviously, I wanted to come and listen, but I also want to come and say, obviously, how strongly opposed to the bedroom tax I am, and I've raised it several times in the Scottish Parliament. And one of the things that I said to the Scottish Government, that you should be sending out a clear message that people should not be evicted purely because they've withheld that element that's called the bedroom tax. So I think it would be good to have leadership from the Scottish Parliament and Government on this. I mean, we have to repeat, of course, it is coming from the UK Government, so you have to remember that. But I do think there's two things that we could do at the Parliament. One is take on board what the Govan Law Centre are saying in terms of the petition, but there is also the possibility, of course, of topping up discretionary housing benefit, because you get a certain amount of discretionary housing benefit from the UK Government, not very much. That could be topped up, so that's another thing that the Scottish Government and Parliament could do. But I think the attitude of the Scottish Government is going to be leaving it up to individual councils. So I can't speak for Edinburgh Councillor because I'm not a councillor, but I would certainly support anybody who was getting threatened with eviction for withholding that part of their rent. And I think actually that there is a big and hopefully successful campaign that can be built on that. You can see tonight there's lots of people here who are not affected by it. I mean, there's lots of people out there that aren't, but I think people understand. If you just put it in terms of, even if I was willing to move and I wanted to move, there's nowhere for me to go. And when you say that to people, they do understand that this is really just one of the most unjust policies that we've seen for a long time. So I do think there is, but I understand what people are saying. They want to know what the council is going to do about it in 2 weeks' time, and fair enough, they want to know what the Scottish Parliament is going to do about it. So we all need to be part of this campaign.
Looks like Malcolm put Cammy Day right on the spot there. So if we now, Vince, let me just ask Cammy Day what the council's going to do.
Hi, I'm Cammy Day and I'm the Labour Councillor for this area. I also have the remit of being the lead member for housing, so what decision we take will be led by me and my colleagues, fortunately, I think. I'm here tonight because I don't agree with the bedroom tax. I think next 2 weeks is the date of the next discussion, 16th of April. Our motion from the Labour group and from the administration, I think, will be supporting. I mean, I can't guarantee that tonight because I'm not on the committee, but will be to scrap the tax, and we'll be supporting that as a national campaign. What we do locally needs a bit more discussion, because, as I think has been raised today, if we accept that, there becomes a black hole of £5 million or so for the council to manage. And that might not seem a lot, given we've got £1 billion budget, but that will have implications of the ability to refurbish people's houses, the ability for us to build new houses. And I'm not saying that we agree or disagree with that. I suppose what I'm saying is it's an unjust tax. I think it's unfair, some of the comments that have been said tonight about being the local authority's responsibility. This is a government policy from a Tory Lib Dem government that's being imposed on local authorities throughout Scotland. And what we have to do is do the best we can for the tenants that we work with across the city. There's absolutely nothing that we can do as an authority to stop the tax, apart from join campaigns like this for the Westminster government to stop that. And as Malcolm just touched on as well, this could easily be remedied by an act of the Scottish Parliament, by the current government saying that this is not an evictable arrear you can get into. And so there's pressure you need to put on your MSP. Someone down the front said they've met their MSP. If it's the one for this area, well, he's one of the ones that's in government, and he's one of the ones that can make that happen. So there's a pressure that we need to put on our MSPs in the Scottish Parliament, of course our MPs. And I'll, of course, take this back to the Labour group and the coalition in Edinburgh to say that what people are telling me is they want to scrap the tax and have no evictions here in Edinburgh.
I might just abuse the chair a little bit and say, Cammy, one of the issues is that when we were tackling the poll tax, people did take that position inside the Labour Party and nationally. They said, we're opposed to it. We want to scrap it at a national level. But Thatcher was in. We need to beat Thatcher and whatever. But people on a lower level decided something different. They decided, can't pay, won't pay. That element isn't here right now. I cannot withdraw anything because I'm not on the benefit. Therefore, my element of support needs to be something else because I can't refuse to pay because I'm not in that situation. But a woman said the other night there, she said, you stand with me and I'll stand with you. Because the benefit cuts that are coming in and the campaign to lower wages of council workers and other people is massive. I appreciate that what you're talking about is actually we need to tackle the Tory government. That is an absolute. But actually there's loads of other things. The best thing to avoid the 8 million, right, is to get people like Gary and Roddy and the other housing associations and the council to find means in which they can avoid these situations. We need to tackle the politicians at a Scottish level. There will be people who will be evicted who we didn't know, and they will be left in a desperate situation because they haven't connected with us, because either we're too small or we're too busy building, and they will be evicted. We need to make sure that that isn't the situation.